And this individual is right next to me, as you can see on the screen. Ronali, welcome on board. Great to have you on board.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Brilliant. So, you being a woman entrepreneur, I think it is iconic that we present you to the world, that they understand, the women out there understand how it is like to cope with everything. I mean, we are not pointing fingers here, but still we understand how things are going on. So, from you, I would like to ask you, who is Ronali from your own point of view?
That's a very good question. I think I am a fun-loving, very energetic personality. I love animals, I love dogs, I love nature, I love traveling, and I guess I'm an island girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think all these experiences is the reason why you wanted to find a niche in the market and also to find, address some of the issues like you mentioned in your description? It says that you wanted to make sure that non-communicable diseases find an ending or some sort of a relief from your end. Do you think that's how you came into the idea?
Actually, I would say it's a combination of factors. So I worked in the corporate sector initially, and I always felt that there was something missing. And it's like, I feel like when you're an entrepreneur and you have that entrepreneurial spirit in you,
drive.
Yes, you can never be happy in the corporate world.
Right.
So no matter how good I was at my job, I felt that there was more I needed to do. There was more that Ronali had to give to society. And I'm quite a religious person, so through a lot of prayer, I felt that this was my calling and this is something that I was meant to do. And when I did more research into it, I found out that non-communicable diseases are a huge problem. And one way you can prevent yourself from getting a non-communicable disease is by having enough fruits and vegetables in your diet per day. And let's face it, how many people actually think about it consciously? Am I having 400 grams of fruits and vegetables a day? And that's how Raw was birthed.
Okay, great. So that's the initial inception of the idea. But now, before we step into the business sphere at the moment, now you being a lady, I mentioned earlier as well, there could be obstacles, there could be challenges, but I'm not going to name them. But do you have anything that you want to share with the world? Being a Sri Lankan lady and getting into the business world, how has it been?
I would say running a business as a woman in this country is very hard. Firstly, people don't take you seriously. Secondly, because I look kind of younger than I am, they thought I was a child trying to do business, so they would try to mess with me, mess with prices, deadlines. So it's very difficult. It's like you have to prove to them who you are for them to trust you enough to do business with you, even though you are paying them for the services. So it's difficult, and I think it takes a lot of courage and a lot of confidence to actually make it and survive in the business world in Sri Lanka, because it's vastly dominated by men.
Okay, so it's not just this industry you're saying like all the industries in the country, in the world, are they all male prominent?
Absolutely.
Right, okay. So moving on to the industry and the organization RAW, and so what's the business? Let's speak about the entire concept behind it. You mentioned about the non-communicable diseases and you drive towards it. What else is there? There's also sustainability and also employing of just women in the company. Let's speak about that.
Yeah. So basically, when I started RAW, I never wanted to be a part of the problem. Now, what I mean by this is, plastic pollution is a huge problem world over, as is women not being represented enough in the workforce. I wanted to, even as a small startup, even as a small business, be a part of the solution, not the problem. So that's how the whole sustainability angle and supporting women started. So in terms of sustainability, all the juices are manufactured using clean energy, solar power. Most of the produce are grown in my own backyard, and once the juices are made, all the pulp that comes out is used to make compost, and it goes back into the soil that the produce is grown in. All the bottles are made out of glass. Customers return them so that they can be reused. It is delivered in a reusable cloth bag, and all the women that I employ come from very troubled families. Their husbands are alcoholics, one is in a mental institution. They come with a lot of burdens and problems, and this was the solution, and they have become the primary breadwinners in their families. Yes.
Okay, so I'm not trying to discriminate, but you mentioned that you're only employing women at the moment. But you gave us reasons as well. I mean, these are really good reasons, justifiable, I would say. Why is it impossible at the moment to employ men, or is there a reason behind it?
I mean, if the situation arises and there is a man that fits a job role that I am looking for, yes, I'm not going to discriminate based on gender, but it is such that so far it's been, I feel like women are also more attracted to the business because of the fact that it's run by a woman, it's all women, it's like, you know, go women empowerment kind of thing. So even my customers are mainly women. So I feel like there's a natural gravitation towards women being interested in the in this field. But like I said, if an opportunity opens up and if there is a qualified man for the job, I'm not going to discriminate based on gender. Absolutely not.
Okay, let's also speak about the product portfolio that you have. You mentioned, I mean, you have focused mainly on the non-communicable diseases. Could you tell us a bit about the products that you have at the moment? What's the use for the customers at the moment?
Sure. So actually, if you look at our product portfolio, there is 2 uses for the juices. So one is where you have a juice every day to get in your 5 a day. Your fruits and vegetables that is required to prevent yourself from getting a non-communicable disease. So you just have a juice a day. Now these juices have no added water, no added sugar, no additives, no preservatives. It's 100% real produce. So that's the first line. The second use for the products, or the second line as I like to call it, are the detox cleansers. Now a detox cleanse is when you abstain from food and you only have juice. So you have 6 juices for the day, 1 juice every 2.5 hours, and it cleanses your system. Sometimes doing a cleanse can help you lose weight because there's a lot of toxins built up in your system with all this junk people eat, all the toxic air people breathe in. So it cleans out your system and gets it ready to absorb nutrition and to promote weight loss.
Right. So how does these products link to prevention of non-communicable diseases? You mentioned weight loss. I think that's one. What are the other ones?
So it can help reduce your blood glucose levels. So for example, some of the juices have these Ayurvedic greens such as Hathavarya, Tebu, which are known to reduce blood glucose levels. So these are very potent juices because there's no water, there's no dilution. So it's very, very strong. One juice, so the green juices have between 500 grams to 1 kilo of produce to make one juice.
Wow.
So you are having,
is very rare.
Yes, you're having a burst of nutrition into your system. I have customers who have claimed that their skin has completely cleared out, all marks on their skin have disappeared, and it's only the juices that they've had. So that's a way you can prevent non-communicable diseases. And by having your fruits and vegetables a day, which is so important to prevent non-communicable diseases. I mean, in Sri Lanka, one of the biggest rampant non-communicable diseases is diabetes.
That's right.
Almost every person you know knows somebody that is suffering with diabetes. My own father is a diabetic. So this really helps for people who have these sort of diseases, cholesterol, to name a few. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So now you said that you used to be a professional. I mean, you're still a professional, I would say, but still, like, you used to be recruited for a different company. But you chose to choose your own path and be the entrepreneur that you wanted to be one day because of many factors, as you mentioned. Why did you do that? I mean, the risk factor that you had taken is massive because I mean, it's you have to work to it.
Absolutely.
It's not like receiving a salary at the end of every month. How did you do that?
It was a tough decision. I was working at one of the top companies in Sri Lanka, and I was very comfortable. I was getting paid a very good salary, transport provided, health insurance, very comfortable life. But it's this feeling inside of you when you know that this is what you're meant to do in life. This is how you're supposed to contribute to society. I mean, there's no greater feeling. Money isn't everything, is it? And through your passion and working towards it, the money will come. So for me, it wasn't the money or the financial security. It was finding what my passion was and what I was meant to be on this earth for, and what I can give back to society, how I can help, prevent one of the biggest problems. I mean, when I started Raw, it was 65% of deaths each year due to non-communicable disease. This is back in 2016.
Right.
Now it's over 75% of deaths. I mean, that's massive. And
That's
globally,
alarming.
it's 65%. That costs every healthcare system billions of dollars each year. And if you can be a part of a solution to a problem like that, why not? Isn't that greater than working a 9-to-5 job?
Absolutely, I would say. And I think the best part is once you put your passion and your efforts towards something like that, the money becomes like a byproduct.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. Right. So you are a role model, I would say, for all the women out there, even for the men, because they look at you and then you think this one has really done it. You were also accoladed for that. You were awarded for that back in the day in 2021 at the World Women Leadership Congress as a Sri Lanka woman leader in 2021. Tell us about the experience that happened there.
So up to date, I don't know who nominated me. I got an email saying somebody has nominated me, whether I am so and so, and if I can confirm these details, if I run this company. And I was amazed because up to date, I don't know who nominated me, but it happened, and it happened in the midst of a pandemic. It was truly an amazing moment to be around other women leaders, to network with them, to connect with them, to find out that we go through the same sort of struggles in the workplace or working in Sri Lanka. It was an amazing feeling, and I am honored to have been recognized as a woman leader in Sri Lanka.
Right. So you being the role model, as you mentioned, I think you got accoladed for that, you got awarded for that, and at the same time, the women out there who might be looking up to you, they might want to hear something from you as someone who would empower women out there. What is there any message that you want to tell the women out there, Sri Lankan especially?
I would say if you have a good idea, really keep thinking hard and long about it, because it has to make you money. It's not just about having an idea. It doesn't have to make you millions to begin with, but it has to sustain you. So think long and hard about it, and any idea you have, first think, am I solving somebody's problem? And if you are solving someone's problem, then you are onto something. But don't get into it expecting to have a comfortable life, because the first few years are difficult and you have to make a lot of sacrifices. It could be sacrificing even spending time with your friends. You will have no life for the first few years. It will be your business. It's like bringing up a child, I would say. You have to have that focus, you have to have that dedication, and your mind has to just live and breathe your business. And if you don't have that dedication, and if you don't have that grit or that resilience, then it's best not to do it. But if you are a person that has that personality, I support you 100%. I have supported a lot of women who've reached out to me, asked me for advice, and I'm always here. If anybody needs advice or help, I'm happy to mentor them, I'm happy to advise them, and I wish them all the luck in the world. We need more female entrepreneurs in this country to rise up.
Brilliant. Okay, now this is your part of the story where you contribute and you do everything from your end. As a country, if you speak to the society, in terms of, now you mentioned about earlier at the very beginning, you mentioned how most of the industries are male prominent, male driven. As a country, as citizens, do you expect something to be done, maybe from the government's angle or from the populace's angle?
I mean, let's start with the government. Look at how many women there are in the parliament. This change has to start from the top. These systemic changes. It's going to be a very long time before that happens, but it has to start from there. Even some of the top companies in Sri Lanka, I'm not going to name any names, but some of the leading companies in this country have maybe 1 or 2 women on the board, and that is not enough representation. Studies have been done around the world where when there are boards with equal representation of women and men, the companies are more successful, because women see things in a different way. Men see things in a different way. It's always good to have both perspectives to succeed.
Right, okay. So there's also this reluctance, not just within, I mean, it's not gender specific, I would say. Now, if someone, now you being someone who is who has studied this nutritionism and also Ayurveda at the same time on hand to hand, they, in terms of investment and also starting a business, you addressed the women earlier, and then how they have to start something that makes money. That makes money part is a tricky part, because you never know until you actually find some niche market. How do you advise to the ones who wants to start a business? Can they start a business without a subject knowledge, in your point of view?
I think knowledge is key for anything. Whether you are an investor or whether you are a budding entrepreneur, knowledge is paramount. So I came from a background nothing to do with this. I did a Bachelor of Arts majoring in criminology and behavioral studies with a minor in sociology. But I studied, I learned everything there is to know in this area. I enrolled to courses, I got qualified. It is so important to know, to have that knowledge, because how can you run a business when you yourself don't know things about it? So I think the first key to it, if you are passionate about something, you have to get that knowledge in. You have to invest in yourself and educate yourself in the desired field that you are interested in.
Right, okay. Now there's also for the like startup founders out there, because now we can see some of these startups are extremely successful overnight. Some of them are actually lagging behind because they try to find and fitting into these requirements. You earlier mentioned about finding what people need, because that's how you start a business, because you fill the gap like you have done yourself. How could someone find this niche market, identify, because that is, I think, everybody's problem when it comes to creating a business. How do you address that?
So I would say start very basic. Like, what are things that people struggle with? What are things people find difficult? And try to come up with a solution for it. Now, when I started this, I was still working full time, and then I started this as a side hustle, as they call it, like a side business. And people didn't know anything about it. They didn't even know how they could get a non-communicable disease. People didn't know any of this. So for the first year, I had to dedicate myself to educating my customers. And that was something that I had to do if I wanted them to purchase my product. So you have to think about it in a very different way, not just, oh, I need to make something and I need to sell it and I need to make money.
Yeah.
Because if you're going about it that way, you're going to fail sooner rather than later. So I had to educate them, teach them. So I used to go out to the market and educate people about this product, and then get feedback to see what the customer says. Because end of the day, you have to sell to the customer. So you have to provide them with what they need. What you may think may not be what they need. So I started with 2 juices, and then the other juices came out of customer requests.
All right.
They said, we want a juice to get rid of a hangover. We want a juice to help our skin glow. We want a juice for, where we smoke to help our lungs. So the juice flavors were created out of customer requirements and needs. So you have to be very flexible to adjust your business to suit your customer.
Right. So at the moment you are only serving the local customers. Do you have a plan of expanding abroad? That'll be amazing if you could.
Absolutely. So it's always been my dream, and Raw has always been envisioned as a global brand. The only issue is the technology in Sri Lanka is not available for me to increase the shelf life on the juices.
Right.
So I'm working towards, I work with a lot of food scientists and universities and organizations to try and help find a solution for this, because I have already got inquiries from at least 7 to 8 countries
Really?
asking me to send my juices there, because you have to realize raw is different to any other juice you would find anywhere else in the world, because I incorporate Sri Lankan local produce, which is not found anywhere else. And it's sad to say, but foreign countries value my product more than it is valued here. They understand the nutrition and the health benefits of it, and they want the product there. But it is just finding a solution to the technology. But I truly believe that we will be global very soon.
Absolutely. I think we wish you good luck, because that'll be very important, not only for yourself as a business, but also for the entire country when it comes to supporting the economy at the same time.
Absolutely.
And also the women who are budding into entrepreneurship at the same time, because they want the inspiration, and you could be the role model of that aspect. So thank you very much for joining in today. We had a great discussion when it comes to nutrition, and also going hybrid, and also finding gaps in the market so that you can create a niche product that will be eventually extremely successful. Thank you so much, and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, for the viewers out there, we hope that you got educated about how to run a business, how to start a business, and how to also find a niche market where you can fill in the gaps so that you can be successful and be the entrepreneur that you want to be out there one day. We'll see you next week on a different episode. Have a good night.